Man, this is rough. I'm not going to start over because I don't even know if I'll make it through the next part. I swear to God, if I swallow spit, I gotta go to the bathroom. And my stomach hurts so bad. Oh my gosh. I swear to God. It is like my whole, like, lower abdomen, it feels like murder, man. It's so achy. I don't know what fucking chemical reaction is going on in there, man. And the what was I gonna say? They uh my stomach is aching. Um oh yeah, is I tried the horse paste a couple of days ago. And then I've done the bentonite clay. I think I've done it twice on this round. And it's not, nothing is helping. And I don't know if it's just like I need to get all this out, but it's like, oh my God. I don't know, man. I just feel like the sickness over here has been kicking my ass. And I don't know if it is, those of us going outside. But then you think, well, I don't know, on the skiing slopes and stuff, see, they may be above our cloud of, yeah, deception, our cloud of poison. Because I've said before, I've seen it. Like I've said before about it, and people are like, oh, that's the smoke. That's what happens with the smoke from everybody burning in the winter. We have this cloud over us. It's a cloud of fucking poison is what it is. And so I don't know, but I know because I keep thinking like, how do the people around me not be sick? Like, what in the world with this place? Like, this is so weird. And maybe some of them are, but the ones I talk to don't seem to be. And even the one I'm supposed to be dog sitting starting this week, and she's going to go fly to LA. And it's just to me like, and I don't know what's gonna happen, like if she'll run into any problems or anything like that, and delays and stuff. I see that stuff all the time, but that's what gets me being like, this is not the time to just be going out and doing all this stuff. Like, things keep going wrong, things keep falling apart, people keep finding themselves in disasters, and then the instigators. Like, I said that there was going to be all these instigators going to be out doing this stuff, and there is, and it's going to be worse, I think. I don't know when it's going to flip. I don't know when it's going to switch, go the other direction. But until then, we've got all these criminals just in the streets out to get us. And it's like they're hired to come and get us. And yeah, it's so weird. There's so many weird things, like Joe doing those awards, giving the free, yeah, the what was it? The thing about like respect of freedom or something. I don't remember what it was. Something that is so absurd to give it to Hillary. I was like, that is absurd. And then the other person too. Oh, Soros. Are you fucking kidding me? It's so fucking absurd. And then I guess apparently insurance companies are like, all these people are super super sick and stuff in the hospital. Insurance companies are denying coverage and stuff because this is when everything falls apart. So all of this stuff that people are trying to do and stuff, it's going to keep having just disaster, disaster, disaster. I saw somebody's post talking about their parents had to get divorced after 50 years of marriage because the dad has racked up so many medical bills, $288,000, which can be one event. And so in order to make the mom not have to be responsible for that debt, because they'll take your house, they'll take everything. And I learned that from my insurance guy, because I used to have an insurance guy. And And he had, when they're selling on the insurance and stuff, and his that story happened to his grandparents, and that affected him, and so he was really into financial planning and stuff. And he said that they were married a long time, and then the grandpa got sick or something, had to go into one of those homes or whatever, and then the government takes all the money, so every bit of the money. So, and they had built up a really big retirement, like there was going to be money that was left to people and stuff, but the government took it all because he went into one of their facilities or whatever. And that's how it works. Everything is shenanigans. Everything is a way to get money from us. So anyways, this girl is saying that her parents got divorced in order to make it where the mom wouldn't be held responsible. And then plus they got the house put in her name and stuff like that. So they're trying to outsmart the system, which, I don't know. Everything is by intentions, because you can still try and do something like that and have it all blow up in your face right now. And it would have to do with what you were here to learn. So it wouldn't be like, that's the only thing it has to do with. So anything that you're trying and it goes wrong or whatever, it's because that you're supposed to be learning from whatever the thing is. I saw yesterday this one. So it was in Arizona, and they had a big trailer camper thing or something. I'm not sure the whole thing. I didn't go watch all her videos or whatever. But anyways, they wrecked on the freeway, and their whole big camper thing, and it seemed like that they were living in it or something. Their whole thing like turned and ripped all apart. All their stuff was everywhere, all over the road. The woman was videotaping like, oh my God, look what happened. And so their trailer thing is all over, it's demolished. All their stuff everywhere. People are on the side of the road trying to help them and stuff. It was like the highway, like more like a state highway though, not like a freeway or interstate or whatever. And so there's people there trying to help them and whatnot. But that's the thing too, is like, they would be looking at it as like, what a disaster and stuff. But really what you gotta be looking at is the universe wants us here. They want us right here. They're not letting us move. And so there's a reason we're supposed to be here, right now. And that's, we weren't, they probably, they could have been getting signs or something, like somebody, anything can go. You just got to pay attention. But if you are going in the wrong direction, that's the kind of stuff that happens. And then also you have the whole thing of, all these different disasters happening right now, because it's going to push you to become your strongest. It's going to push you to let go of things. And so it's going to push you in a direction that you need to go for the transition of letting go of the dark and moving into the light. And so all these things are like the universe is promoting it or provoking it or creating it. And but that is what they'll do. If you're going in the wrong direction, yeah, they'll make sure. That's why I said it's way better to pay attention to the signs, because people don't realize, because they don't realize how the universe works and how spirituality works and the other level of this game. They're just playing this three-dimensional game, and they don't click into that side and see. But right now, also, the universe is going to be speaking a lot louder to people. So people will start catching on, like somebody will come up to them and, things will play out in a certain way. But everybody is where you will always be where you're supposed to be. You cannot be where you're not supposed to be. It's just impossible. You can't go where you're not meant to be or you're not meant to go. And I don't even know how much room we have in there, wiggle room or something. To me, it seems like it's like a program. We're just on a program. You won't notice things you're not supposed to notice. You won't hear things you're not supposed to hear. You won't see things you're not supposed to see. It'll be very focused on what it is that you're here to experience. And in this time of this evolution is when we start opening up to those concepts, but also to the fact that there's all these different realities happening at all different levels, all different things happening. Because to us in our storyline, all these things they were being put into a box to make sense in our world. But really, our world isn't our world. It's everybody's world, and everybody's got their own thing happening. And everybody, like if we talk about us, the beings that play the human part, that we're birthed in. But there's a lot of things that are birthed in, like all these different animals and stuff, whales, dogs, horses, lots of things that come in for these experiences are birthed into this reality. And so, but there's things that can come that aren't birthed in, but that's what I talk about, that is more difficult for them to come into this lower vibration. But that is like this merge that is happening, is us raising the vibration. It's like we're coming to meet them. It isn't like they're just coming to meet us. They've come and made their self known to people who pay attention, but they've come to make themselves known, but we are coming to meet them. We're moving up in our vibration. So it's not like they're having to come down in vibration. We're going up in vibration. Because even just think about just the change in vibration of the aware of aha moment of the awareness of like, oh, aliens or beings from somewhere else are real, when they've told us for so long they aren't. But see, that keeps you in this lower vibration, this lower density, because the more that you see the magic, the more that you understand that you're more, and these beings would definitely let you know you're more, because they're like your cousins and shit. And yeah, and then people are thinking like they're angels and stuff. Or even when we're putting one on the news, this guy was out driving and the clouds turned into an angel, and he got pictures, and it's on the news, whatever, all this stuff. But it isn't just like that limiting way that people just look at it like devils and angels and stuff. It's just all different beings at all different vibrations. And when you go into the lower vibration, they are lacking more skills. They're not so like how they sell you with this idea of the devils. Well, it's because they're the devils. That's their personality that they're showing. It isn't the real dark energy that surrounds us and stuff. It's a lot more simpler. It's a lot more earthworm. It's a lot more just trying to survive. It's not, this guy with horns sitting over there trying to figure out how he's going to fuck you over. And he's going to come and disrupt your life so that nothing can go better for you and stuff like that. It isn't like that. The forces are more of the being, us. We birth into this situation, and then scenarios or situations begin to occur in our life. And just as back when I was 3, and that whole situation happened when I'll just say it again, because there's people who keep coming and I don't know, they don't seem to know what I'm talking about or whatever. So when I was 3, we were at my grandparents' house. I didn't know this grandpa that much. I remember that. And so we were out on his farm. He had this big farm. He was the one who ended up being super rich. And a lot of farmers made a lot of money, but there's a whole thing. I just saw a girl talking about, like, when you go to these farms and stuff and you go out to get stuff on farms, they're all old people. And all their kids and grandkids want nothing to do with it. This is our problem. This is how everything becomes corporate owned. They'll just sell the land off. And then the land will become apartments. And then the corporations, they'll just build their farms up and they'll feed us crickets and shit like that. Because we are more eager to... but they created this. It's part of the familial breakdown and stuff. So anyways, you come in, you're birthed into the situation. Oh yeah, so back when I was... Okay, so when I was 3... I go to this grandpa's house, and My mom and dad are sitting there talking to him. My little brother was a year and a half old, and he was sitting on my dad's lap. I was standing there. I don't know. I was probably doing something. I'm always been hyper kind of kid, and so I was probably doing something or playing something, and then my brother wanted a drink or something. So they told me to go in and get a drink for him. So I had to stop what I was doing. This became such a big part of my life, being the oldest kid. I had to stop what I was doing and go in the house, this place I didn't even know, and go in and go get him a glass of water. And so I was pissed, man. I can remember how pissed I was. I can see my little self stomping in there. I can remember this so clearly. And so I go into the bathroom, and they have those little Dixie cup things, those little paper ones. So I get one of those down and put water in it, and I see the soap, and I get the soap, and I start stirring the soap in the water. And because I wanted to, I was pissed. And so when I'm going to do that, then all of a sudden I had this dark entity. It starts saying, yeah, it was such a devilish conversation and what I was saying and stuff. And it was pushing me to do it. Oh, that's going to make you feel so good. That's so smart. Do it and stuff. I can't even remember all the stuff it was saying. But then this other one came on. It was just like something out of a movie with this chorus behind, oh, and as one comes, it's like light starts coming from their shoulder or something. I look over at that one, and that one is telling me, don't do something like that. You're going to get yourself in trouble. It starts being all reasonable and stuff. And so that is at 3 when I went into that state of consciousness of reasoning over figuring out, good or bad consequences and stuff. So, however, on whatever level that anybody wants to see that or think that, that began my communication, though. Is then once I had started with that communication, I could recognize, I talk to him all the time, and but I talk to the light. The dark is always there, trying to infiltrate and stuff. But the light is the peaceful voice that I go towards. And but they made themselves very known to me though my whole time growing up, because religion was such a part of my life, because my mom was super religious, and we had to go to church and stuff all the time. But that's when they started telling me things all the time. That's when I started telling me, like, that's not true, that's not true. And that's what veered me out of religion and more towards spirituality, more towards reincarnation and stuff like that, because it was through my guidance that put me in the direction that I went. And so that is more of like what the dark energy is like, though, is like this kind of negative, kind of just hateful, but sometimes you want to feed into it, because I did. I went and put the soap in the water, went down, got in trouble, and then the light started telling me a bunch of stuff. And that part I don't remember. I just remember looking up and them telling me a bunch of stuff after, like, well, we told you this was going to happen. But they weren't like, I told you so. They were very much explaining things to me. And so, I don't know, to me, it's like, it seems to be kind of advanced for 3 years old. So whatever was going on, it put me onto this spiritual journey more of, I was always aware of all of these things that people are just now starting to figure out. So, I don't know what else to call it. And I was always guided to study into that. Like, I was studying into reincarnation and what happens when you die and all that stuff back then. And so, anyways, but all the people, they all get faced with that dilemma of choosing the dark or the light. And I think that and there's so much of people feeling like the dark isn't giving choices, but you have choices all the time. You always have choices. And that is one thing too, is a big part of our learning, our growing, or what the universe looks at, is how how a certain thing can happen that will push you into a certain behavior or something. Like, not having food can create a thief. uh, these different kinds of things like that. Which I just saw this woman talking about, like she was crying and stuff and saying, please somebody send me some money. I'm broke as shit. And I think it's important to know like your resources in town, even though it's government food, but it's still some food. And I know some of it's hard to cook. I know some of it is bullshit, especially if you're living in your car. And she's in Arizona living in her car, and it's cold where she's at, and she hadn't eaten in 4 days. And she said she was trying to look at it as a fast, but that's what I think. And he's like, if you start going without food, look at it more as like you're doing it to get better. Look at it as a fast. Don't go into lack mindset and starvation and stuff. It's going to be way harder. Go at it as a positive direction. I'm like, okay, I'm fasting. This is going to be good for me. I need to clear out my system. And the universe is putting me on track for this, obviously. Otherwise, they would be bringing you food. And that's the thing, too, is that people don't realize is Abraham Hicks or whatever. Like, I've only heard a few of her things. I don't go in and study her stuff. Bashar, Chiron, any of these ones that I've talked about. There's more, too. There's more that people are figuring, like, this doesn't make sense. This doesn't make sense. But anyways, there was things that I would hear them say that I'd be like, I mean, they're channeling. I just don't think that they're channeling, all high vibrational beings that are really here for our expansion. There's a lot of beings that are here about the control, and there's a lot of shape-shifting tricksters and stuff like that. And so anyways, and like they all have their own attitude. Like, I don't know, when I've heard them before, I'm like, no, they sound like kind of negative and hateful. And there's been a lot of times when I've heard, because there's been lots of clips I've heard of Abraham Hicks and stuff, and I'll be like, God, she kind of gets like a little nasty, kind of. It was somebody asked her a question, and she comes across so rude, and it's like, that's weird. And then, but her angle on how to manifest and stuff is different than how I look at it. And I don't know if she just read a book about it. I don't know what her thing is. I've just been manifesting my whole life. And so the way I look at it is different. And mine has also to do with destiny and fate. And I don't think she takes that into account. And so you could sit there, if you're not destined to be a millionaire, you can sit there all day long and try and put it in to the universe. Make me a millionaire, make me a millionaire. I'm going to envision it. I'm going to see myself. If you're not meant to be a millionaire, you're not going to make yourself into a millionaire. But where you want to be going more towards the universe to get the things you want is to be specific on the things you want. Like, you want a home. I want shelter. I want a home. I want safety. and you start envisioning what it is you want, then they'll bring you what you want. But when you're just sitting there, like, I want to be a millionaire. I want to be famous. I want to be a rock star. Whatever those things are, if that's not your destiny, if you aren't fated for that, if your desire isn't coming from your program that you're here to experience, then it's not going to happen. It can only happen if it's meant to happen. You can't create like, you chose this ride, you chose the seat, so you came in to choose that seat for a reason. And, there's a big discrepancy in how people look at it, like the difference in poverty and richness and stuff. And poverty probably, I don't know, in comparison. They both have a lot of big lessons, and they're pole opposite big lessons on the thing. But there is such significant lessons in poverty, and there's things that are super positive that happen from it. So it's not something that's wrong or bad. It's a lesson plan. It's a flight plan. It's where we all have to go at some point to learn the lessons. We all have to be all these different ranges to learn the different lessons. So when people are learning certain lessons, it's way more about being in that moment and learning from what you're experiencing than to sit there and create your own misery, just sitting there every day and every night, just longing to be a millionaire so you can get out of this poverty, and stuff. And, but when it's your destiny, and in order to go towards your destiny, you have to work towards it. So you have to trust. But see, to me, that also comes in the visions. Like visions come in to show you and push you in a direction. And then you have to trust that direction, which there can be nothing around it that shows you that you should be going in that direction. But you just know you need to go in that direction to go towards what it is that you are wanting. But it is because it's where you're supposed to go. You can't make a path that's not there. And so, because that to me, it seems to be the secret, the illusion that they try and sell is like you can create this thing out of nothing that's supposed to be there just because you want it to be. And that isn't how I understand life. I understand it through destiny and fate. Like, if it's fated to be, if it's meant to be, then it will be. But that doesn't mean you can't have the things you want. Like, you can still have the things you want, but you go to the universe for them. You go in and start using your mind, picturing the things you want, showing them what you want, and they'll bring you home. It will come somehow, however it comes. They'll bring you the things that you want, but you are the one who gets hung up on this, your passions, your desires or something. Because it's weird, because even your destiny will feel like a desire. It'll feel like you're going towards something you want, or at least at some point it starts becoming something you want. Even if at first you're like, I don't know, this is weird. But, you got to go where you're supposed to go. And then at some point you start being like, I want what it is I'm headed for. And so you just go towards it. But I don't know. I just, people seem to be disconnected from their purpose, from this concept of fate and destiny. And they seem to think that this is all about this control, which to me is, like I've said before, I feel like I learned about energy and alchemy and stuff, throughout different lifetimes. And and it is not in balance or in sync with the universe to try and control it. And then to me, there's this other level of knowing that you're running a program, you're on a ride, this is what you're doing. And then to come in and try and fight it, like, well, it doesn't feel right, I'm so mad, I want what that one got, oh, this isn't fair. It's like a mini meltdown of the being who chose the ride that they came in for. And to me, that just shows more of a disconnect from yourself. But there is, like, spiritual concepts that people, especially when you got these spiritual leaders that don't even fucking talk about them, don't say it. Because to me, like, and it only makes sense to me, about destiny and fate and all of that. And, what is meant for you will always find you. You're always where you're supposed to be. You can't be somewhere where you're not supposed to be. All the crazy synchronistic moments are all planned out for you. And all of that is like on this timer. Everything is an exact time. And so then you're talking about a world where all of us have influence over this. So what would come of that when we're all sitting here trying to, well, I want this to happen, so I'm just gonna, go in there and focus on that. That's what I want to happen, so I don't give a shit what the universe is saying is supposed to happen. I'm going that way. And if we all could just suddenly do that, we're all just suddenly somewhere else where we want to be, well, then how is it all fall into place? how does everything fall into place? It seems like it's chaos. It seems like that is where you put the earth, or you put the energy out of balance. It seems to me that going into put it into balance is to go into the flow. Like the energy has got its flow, and you're just riding the wave. You're just riding the flow through life, and you're just letting things happen the way they're supposed to happen, and you're just in the moment, and you're present, and you go through your experience. And that to me is, what is the easier ride. I think that we make the ride a lot more difficult by fighting against the forces that be, because we think that we know better. We think that we could do it better, and we have a better idea, and it becomes distorted, your plan, when you come in and you start looking at others and thinking, well, they got a better one, I want to do what they're doing. Oh, that looks good, that looks fun, I want to go do that. And that gets us all off of our own flow. So we kind of go into a battle with our own self, and see, then we're spending our life, instead of getting to enjoy this flow that was created for us, we're over here battling, trying to force something to be different. And then it's like a waste of energy. It's like you can't turn things. It's so much more. Like they sit there and say, like, about us, we can, with our mind, change things and stuff like that. But to me, it is changing how we look at it. Just like, what was that thing I said a minute ago with, not just the one with the camper, but it's how you can look at it. There's like different ways you can look at things. And so there's a negative perspective and there's a positive. And so you can look at the positive example of, like, oh, well, this will happen, or that'll happen, or whatever, however it is. But but it's more of that. That is your control. Your control is to look at how you look at things, and then how you behave, and how it affects you. And I just don't know. Because to me, manifesting is it was simple. You just like picture what it is that you want, and you just picture it, like the dresser that I had gotten. And I had decided I needed a smaller dresser in this one room, and this was a couple years ago. I'm sure I was doing this though and talked about it. So I would sit here and I would look down the hall, and I would look at the wall, and I kept picturing what I wanted. I kept picturing this dresser and what I wanted it to look like, and I'm looking at the knobs and everything. So I was looking at it and thinking about what I wanted it made out of and everything. And so then, and I was doing that for a few weeks, I think. And then I went outside to go do something. I don't remember. I was going walk somewhere or something. And so I go walking down, I think about 6 houses or something. And somebody had set the dresser out on the street. And it was like the same dresser, only they had, it was wood color, and it had stickers on it and stuff. So, I was going to have to do some work on it. And so I went and got my car, and I went and got it, and I brought it back, and I brought it in and cleaned it. And the knobs, I took them off and cleaned them, and they were like these brass knobs and it was wood. It was like exactly. And then I got black paint, and I painted it black, and it was exactly what I had pictured. And it was free. I didn't have to pay anything. It was just standing out there on the side of the road, or across the street, a couple houses down. And it fixed it all up, and it was exactly what I wanted. And so, so it can come to you in different ways. And just like when the oven broke, and I was like, fuck, I know it has to do with something with the power. They're fucking with my power input or something. And because it just didn't make sense. Like, things going cold, all these, my dryer wouldn't heat up, the oven stopped working, all those things all of a sudden. And so I was like, I'm not gonna play these fucking games. I've just gotta, how do you deal with this? And then the toaster oven thing came to my mind. I was like, fuck yeah, I'll get a toaster oven. And then I started looking and started seeing like, oh, there's really cool toaster ovens now. They're like more like a little mini oven. That's all I need. I'll just get one of those. And so I couldn't afford to get one off of the thing. So I started picturing it in my mind and put it at the thrift store. And so then in the price, like I heard the price, and then I went to the thrift store and there it was sitting there and it was that price. And so I got it and brought it home and still using it. And there was another one that was coming into my mind when I was saying that one. It's manifesting stuff is you just picture it and then you can put it in places, but there's people who you got to learn how to trust that too, because there's people who are always like, well, that doesn't work, it doesn't work for me, but it's like, well, that's probably why, because you think it doesn't work. Start telling yourself it works. Oh yeah, and that's another thing I thought of too, was so when I know I'm not going to, like, it's like, oh fuck, I'm gonna maybe get an hour of sleep or something, then go in and program in like, okay, this is going to be the most restful sleep I'm ever going to have. I'm going to feel so rested, and no matter how much sleep I come, I'm going to feel so rested and so rejuvenated. It's going to feel fine. I'm going to feel great. And so doing those kind of things, like this reprogramming yourself, instead of just, because so many times we program ourselves, oh, my day's gonna suck, I got no sleep, now my day's gonna be fucked all day, and we stomp off and we go to work and we're pissed off and we're totally out of it because we're so focused on our own misery. And yeah, kind of, you miss out on so many things all by this setup of this confusion and this distraction. There's so much in this world. That's why so much is playing out with these psyops and this distraction. It's because on the micro macro, they have us so distracted on the microism of the, of this reality. It's built so much on the limitations and keeping you in a small space in your mind. And because just think about this. It's really wacky when you think about it. Like the people who believe in things, people who say ghosts are real, Bigfoot's real. Like I was one of those people. And we're going around saying this stuff is real. And there's people who say like, oh, I see ghosts, I hear ghosts, all of this stuff. And you still have people who can't see them who say, no, it's not real. You're crazy. It's in your mind. It's not real. And it's just weird how these people can be so sure something isn't real instead of listening to the people who are saying it is real. That's how upside down this world is. Instead of listening to these people and being like, dang, I can't see it. What does it look like? What is it like? And stuff. No. It's like, nope, you're crazy. That's not real. It's like that's the shift that we're going through. That's where it's going to shift. We're not going to be in that kind of like, well, the people who don't believe, we're going in their direction. No, we're going to go in this other direction. And it's going to, it's going to enlighten these other people who don't believe in anything, because they have been in this mind trap of limitation, especially over this reality, because this reality is so much more vast than what people can think of, because of like there's so many different kind of soul things going on here and different kinds of beings and stuff. But back to the dark energy ones, is that they don't have like a thought process. Like they are way more about survival. They're way more of just parasitic. And that is why you have a relationship with them. When you've got dark energy attached to you, you've developed a relationship with them. They feed into your anger, you feed into their being. And so they feed into your disappointment, your sadness, your anger, your self-hate, your self-loathing. And that is one thing too, is like people just don't realize, like people put on weight to block other people's energy out. It's a protection. And once you heal and you go through that not needing to protect yourself, then the weight will just fall off. It won't even be emotional healing can make so many changes in people's lives, their sicknesses, their body, their way that they see themselves. Like it's very so different. Like it trips me out sometimes of how different I see myself now is what I saw myself even 10 years ago, even 5 years ago. But definitely from my whole lifespan as this being is there's such a transition of my own illusion of self, my own perspective of my own being. And so it changes so much. And then when you get to this part, then it is like now I see myself so different. Like I would see myself it's weird because then it's like you just focus on the things you don't like about yourself too. So you'll just see the things you don't like. It's weird how perspective works. And that is so much better the more that you can break free from the programs that contain your perspective and go out, more into the vast unknown and gain more perspective. And there's so much about here of keeping us contained and controlled through a mass perspective over what is the right thing to do, what is a good person, what is that. And I see people all the time. People are always going to, this group asking them like what they should do. Did they do the right thing and stuff? Like people are so confused. But the good thing about it is that people care. Like they want to, they want to figure it out. And so that is, that is our transitioning. That is this evolution. That's the breaking free. Is to start wanting to desire, so to want to have different, to be different, to have better relationships. And the big thing about, improving your relationships is taking responsibility. Once you take responsibility for your own feelings, then your relationships can start changing. But it still is like a huge transition because there's a lot of us who, through setting boundaries and just there's a lot of transitioning in relationships right now. But I think that it's going to fall. It's going to fall into place. It's going to come to a place where, where we can all talk again. It's like the two things splitting, but it's like both experiences to be experienced. But the thing about so heavy on this one experience is that their experience is based on limitation. So they haven't seen the whole picture yet. And that's what's going to be like when the lights come on. It's going to be like, I see it like a whole group of people is looking, oh, okay. Like a whole group of people is looking like in a window of a house and they see all of this business going on and they think they've got the whole story. They see all this. But then all of a sudden it's like the lights are going to come on and they're going to see a whole giant house with all windows, with all different things going on in every window. And so that is where it's going to be like this expansion, sudden expansion. Like you're looking at this and all of a sudden the whole picture opens up behind them. And that is going to be, that's like the awakening part. That's like the, fuck, I'm looking at this and all of a sudden it's that. And that is like the lights coming on. That's like the flipping of the energy. That's like the coin toss going on the other side. Because this is so we can experience the other side. Because there's two sides of every experience. And so there's a lot of mindlessness that is going to feel the gravity of their choices. And it's not because, like shame on you for being mindless, because there's also an aspect to being and enjoying life and just going with the flow and just going. And so there is, it's weird because there is a sense of like mindlessness being a part of it. Like you got to also find your balance in the mindlessness of it, not overthinking it and being able to just go with the flow and enjoy the day. But it is also that there is, because it's kind of like by intentions or something. It's kind of just like there's just the people are all just so cut off. There's a lack of really being present in it's just there's such a dysfunction in our society, and so there's things that have to level up. So there's certain perspectives, certain concepts that will be like expanding. So certain things, like you think of it in this one way, but then all of a sudden you look at it and like it's a whole different ways. And so this is this time of expansion of, you see it this way, but then you're going to see more, and you're going to see more and more and more. And, but that's kind of like the slow roll into it. But there's going to be a dramatic, instantaneous, sudden seeing things that they didn't see before. And I still don't know if it's going to be, like a whole bunch of different things in different places, but all kind of timed together so that it is like it wakes up all these people at the same time, even though it's a bunch of different things. Which there's more weird shit going on with the politics thing. I don't know how they're gonna play this out. Like it just builds with the drama and stuff. Who knows? Who knows how it's gonna play out? And what was it? Oh, yeah. Like I thought this was kind of weird. So now Joe has done this big expansion on Social Security. So supposedly anybody who's on it is going to get a raise of like $300 or something a month. But once we go on the Jubilee, then once we go on the bricks and the gold standard and stuff, then it's going to be a much bigger jump. I heard it was going to be more like 5,000, where now they've got people trying to make it on $1,300 a month. It's going to be more like 5,000 a month for people. And you're not going to have to pay for resources and homes and stuff like that. Things are going to be, well, some homes, but the prices are going to be cheaper. But resources and stuff, we're not going to have to pay for a lot of stuff. So your money is going to go way further. And so, but for some reason, Joe has done this, and then it also changes. More people can get on Social Security or something. So more people and different, I don't know, it's some big expansive thing, and it's the first president or something that's ever done it. So I was like, well, that is strange, that they would have him doing something good to play this out. So I don't know. Like things are just so odd. And you know that Taylor Greene lady, I don't know, apparently she's doing videos crying, and we've got to get him in there, they're going to stop him and stuff. Which I don't know if it's just to build more drama about the thing. And I still don't know who's the good guys and who's the bad guys. Only ones that I know of that are is Donald. He is the leader of this thing, but in his wake, he's also exposing other people for their parts, their crimes, their stuff. So, but he's the motorboat that's making the wake to show the stuff. So he is the direction for his movement is about the unity and progress. It's a different kind of progress than what they are trying to sell us on. Their progress is turning us all into transhumanism. His progress is turning us more into independent farmers or city councilmen for our own communities or something. He's trying to bring us into an independence and expose the control that has been going on for a long time. And that's what their big thing is, to try and shut him down. And then they know, like, as soon as he goes in, like, the banker, like, things are going to change drastically. They're going to be taking down pharma, they're going to be taking down the bank. Like, all this stuff is going to be go, 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 go. Go, go, gadget, go. And so it's going to start happening fast. So I don't know. I don't know how long they're going to drag this out. Like, now they want to put him in jail or something. Like, this stuff. So it's just lots of drama and stuff. And then we still don't know how this whole thing with what's happening up in the sky is going to play out. There's so many things. There's so many things. It's just like, to me, just have the awareness of like, okay, there's like a lot of balls in the air. Anything can happen at any moment. And it's, a bunch of balls can start dropping all at the same time. It can be like a whole bunch of stuff happening at once. And so I just know that at some point through this stuff that it's going to flip the switch. It's going to flip us right side up, because we're in the upside down. We're in the, where people think the dark is what makes sense. It's because, because you're just surrounded with so much darkness, and people have accepted so much darkness, and people play out in the darkness. But also, the people are here to do that. So you can't say, well, you did it wrong. You shouldn't have done that. You held back mankind. No, that's not what's happening. We're all playing out our game. And so all these different things just have to play out. We're just still in the part where things are playing out. So we just have things that have to still fall apart and come back together and stuff. So it is, that's why just staying more in observation, like it's a movie, watching it play out, watching how this happens or that happens, who goes down, who doesn't go down. And I do think, though, I saw this the other day, and I was kind of like, huh, that's interesting. It was saying Julia Roberts is blackballed now or something. She's not getting parts. She was slated to play some part, but then she got fired, and they aren't letting her over a political post or something. And it's the same thing with George Clooney. Same thing with some other big name that they were saying. And I know, like, I know Julia's friends with George. I know George is friends with Barack. There's footage of George and Barack on a boat with a little girl that is of a Oriental descent. It's obviously not one of their kids. And they're even holding her down on one part. There's definitely, Clooney, I think, is like, dude, I don't know what all kind of dinner parties you've been to, but I don't know that I'd want to go to the same ones. So I don't know. Like, hanging out with that guy, like, that likes to have pizza parties and shit and hot dogs and bullshit. So I don't know. But I just thought that's so weird. If it is if it is this turning, the people who like the lights coming on in Hollywood or something, like the people who carry the light, that they will continue, and the people who are carrying the dark are going to fall. And so that would be like, a more wholesome kind of Hollywood coming out, instead of, depravity constantly trying to gross us out or turn us into perverts or whatever. But it seems like there is a new energy or something that is trying to take off. But I'm not saying that the old one's all the way gone, but I was just like, man, that's weird. Some of these people who you think like, and now all of a sudden they can't get a job, they're being blackballed, they're out of there. So I don't know, it seems like there's tables turning in all these different directions. And like I said, all you can do is just watch it play out, because these are different people's realities, different things playing out in different people's lives. We're just here to observe. We're just here to watch. And I don't know if anybody's watching, with observe. Well, I guess you guys are watching and observing what goes on in mine. But like, there's tons and tons of lives out there that, nobody's tuning in to watch and stuff, but all of them are playing out. Everybody's life is playing out. Everybody's movie script is playing out. Everybody's flight plan is playing out. So there's just some that are more highlighted, some that are more in the on the main stage for Assault to Witness, and definitely there seems to be some shifting. I don't know that just all of Hollywood's going to burn and stuff and go down. I had heard this, I think back in 2020, there was a couple of guys who were, I can't think of who they are. They're considered more Christian, I think. And Christians apparently would get blackballed or something. And then they'd want to make certain movies. Like, what is that one kid even? He's grown up now. But I can't think of his name. But any of the ones who were more thought about God, especially like Christian, Jesus, God, and stuff like that. And they would be more blackballed. They wouldn't be getting parts and stuff. And so this one, I keep on thinking, his name is not Soros. I can't think of his name. Zobos or something. I think he played Hercules or something. He's one of the Christian people. And he had said that him and, I think that's who I'd seen in 2020, him and then another guy, I can't think of who he is, not John Stamos, but somebody from back at that time. And both of these guys both said that they were going to be either buying a studio or being a part of a new studio or something, but both of them had mentioned this overhaul in Hollywood of things changing and going more into this other, man, I'm gonna have to go again. See, I couldn't make it an hour and a half, no way. It's so crazy. Like, I don't even know what I'm going to take today. I got to figure out something. I'll try the bent neck clay again, I guess. Like, this is mental. But anyways, that they had said that there was going to be this, like, new kind of studio coming where it's not going to be all skanked out like what it's been. So, I don't know. We'll see. Because we do like to be entertained. I like watching movies and stuff. I do it all day long. So, sitting here crocheting, watch. That is like, we've been in the longest fucking winter of my life. Like, fuck. I'm like, this is so weird. So weird. I wanted to leave Spokane and get away from these long, hard winters. And then it's like I moved over here just in time to go into the darkest, longest winter of my life. Isolated by myself. It's mental. And my little lady's on the move too. So anyways, let's take a look at my tooth before I go. And it just is like it's just closing in. Like, I don't know, it's getting better and better all the time. So I don't know, just all of a sudden it'll just all be white, I assume. But I think we'll see it go. Like, we'll see the darkness seem to kind of disappear. But really what they were showing me, it was like it's healing. Like, the darkness is healing, so it's turning into the light. So right as the darkness is ending, I think it should kind of give like a grayish, orangish kind of color. What is it, honey? I swear, I can't even believe how much medicine I keep going through. It's mental. Like, I know she doesn't feel good, and I can't figure out. So anyways, I gotta hit it again. Like, this is crazy. Like, how long can this go on? Like, how long can they just keep fucking with us? Like, god damn, this is, and then they just drag it out. Like, oh, well, he's not even gonna get in. And it's like, these people have gotta go down. Like, fuck. And I was like, man, if they pull some shenanigans, just figure, okay, well, we're going civil war then, because there's no fucking way. If they're gonna sit there and say he's not, if they try and pull some shit, there is going to be some shit. Like, there is no way. There's way too many, like, a huge amount of our population is banking on that guy getting in there and making the changes that we've been waiting for fucking years. And so there will be shenanigans if they fucking try and do anything. And I was like, man, if they are going to play it out that way, it's like, are they just trying to put us into goddamn civil war? Like, who the fuck? Come on, just wake these people up. Just show them who the criminals are. Let's get this show on the road, man. Let's move it. Like, come on. Wake them up. Like, it's up to them now. It's like, the more that they do, the more that they show, the more it's just going to keep waking people up. And I gotta go. So, Anyways, but remember, what we're all should be doing is learning how to love ourselves, to love everyone, and how to have a loving day because it's totally up to you. And so that's my take on it. And I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye.